bloom in spring. Tell me who gives the air that you breathe. Ooh. Everything that you need he will provide, so you may as well come on and give him a try. 'Cause he's awesome. Ooh, he's awesome. He's awesome. What would I do without him? Couldn't make a move without him. I don't wanna be without him. He's awesome.
What's up, ladies? Welcome back to ZMR Ministries. As you know, I'm Pastor Z, and tonight is Friday, so you know what time it is. It's Girls Talk. Now, tonight, we have an amazing topic, just like every week. Tonight's topic, we're talking about girl bye. Y'all know what that means? Yeah. How to keep it 100 with your girl. Now, you know, as y'all know, I have learned from my girls. Y'all know Bridget, this is DeDe. Now, you know, I'm a talker. I got a mouth on me. Sometimes I don't have a filter. And so when we're talking about keeping it real, sometimes it can be a little raw. And so in friendships or any type of relationship that you have, you definitely want to be able to voice your opinion. But, you know, how do you keep it 100 with your girl without messing up the relationship? So let's talk about that, ladies. Y'all know on Fridays we don't do all the intro and stuff like that. We just dive right in it. So how do you keep it 1,000 with your girl when you look at your girl, whether it's something they wearing, something they said, something they doing, and you like, girl, bye. How y'all keep it 100? I ain't gonna even ask me because y'all already know, so. Look, they go try to figure it out.
Okay,
I'm
so,
shut up.
You know, if it's your friend or one of your girls, you know your friends better than, you know.
Right.
You know how to come to your friends. So I feel like, you know who can take constructive criticism, and you know who can, who you have to be a little bit, sensitive, easing on them. And you also have that one who may blow up on you, so you know you may have to take some.
Again, you gotta know who you're dealing with in regards to how the delivery. You know, I like to tell some people it's all in your delivery. Because it all depends on how you deliver that to the person who you're talking to in order for them to receive what you have to say. But sometimes you do have to be blunt, especially if you're gonna go out and embarrass yourself. I don't mind if you tell me, but you can tell me in a nice way. What you got to say, Zana?
I'm just saying, you know, I just feel like if you're friends, you should be able to keep it real. You should be able to be honest. And you're right, it's about respect. You know your friends. It's about your delivery. You know how you say things. Y'all praying because I ain't mastered that yet, okay? Mm-hmm. But it's like you have to be open and receptive to your friends keeping it real. Because, you know, you out there looking a fool and then everybody looking at you crazy. And then you gonna look at the first thing you gonna do is look at your friends, or y'all know how y'all heard this. Where they friends at?
She ain't got no friends.
She ain't got no friends.
She don't have no friends.
She can't have no friends. Cause why you gonna come out looking at the house like that? Why you acting like this? You know, she can't have no friends. It's telling her the truth. Well, I feel like as a friend, obviously we are in a friendship because you trust my judgment. On some type of level, there's a great deal of trust. And I feel like we should be able to be open and honest with each other, even the things, you know, that's a little sensitive. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some things they're touchy subjects, you know, that you already know. Like DeDe said, some people are a little more sensitive, you know, you kind of got to ease it in there. And then there are people that, you know, they gonna blow up. So what are some practices that y'all do? I know y'all my friends, but there are some ladies watching, and they're like, okay, I'm the Zanya in the group. I have the raw mouth. I'm the Bridget in the group, you know. I keep it real, but I'm a little more nicer. And then there's DeDe. She kind of in the middle, right? So Bridget, how do you manage to keep it real with your friends?
Again, I think it depends on who I'm talking to. So I know specific friends can just take me being straight up. But even though sometimes I still may not come across and just be straight up blunt and just like, you look horrible. But I know Zanya can take that on some things. But now when it comes down to her wigs,
I'm just
because
saying.
she's gonna say you lying.
Well,
So,
no, you know, if she just say I look horrible, I'm like, baby, you look
lying.
like
That ain't even
liars ain't gonna tarry because you lying.
Yeah. So it really is like your audience. You know your friends. You know who can take it and who can't. can't. So that's kind of like how I approach it, in a sense. But it is still, I'm going to tell you the truth. And especially if I know you're going to get out in public and embarrass yourself, then I have to tell you that because I'm not really your friend. If I'm going to let you go out in public and embarrass yourself. Now, if you choose to still walk out there and embarrass yourself, that's on you at that point.
And I ain't gonna be with you, so. Cause you ain't gonna embarrass me. Period. Period. That's how my mama say. She don't say period, she say period. Do you hear me? What about you, DeDe?
I typically like to take the, joke, critical, I know you were a nigger. Let me fix his hair. I offer to help, instead of being, straightforward, just say, so you gonna hurt feelings or, rub somebody the wrong way, you end up getting to it. So I offer to help, let's find another shirt. Cause this one,
that's ugly.
Really iffy.
That's ugly. That's what I'm saying.
And that is what she gonna say. You. That's
you know how in the text message you put the LOL, you just laugh and then you.
No, I'm not gonna put LOL. Y'all know that little yellow face that the eyes are like this. That's gonna be me in the text message, and it's because I feel like I'm looking out for y'all. That's how I feel. And I understand it's a way you say things, and Bridget knows over time I've learned. Have I learned a filter? I don't know if that's the right word. I think I've learned how to present certain things. Like you said, you know what friend you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And I know with Bridget, it's some things that if I flat out said, I have to, kind of snatch it back real quick, or I try, because then she'll be like, was that necessary? Thank you. That wasn't very polite. Why don't you apologize? And I'm like,
apologize.
I mean, I don't know. Like, how do you guys deal with your friends that are overly sensitive when it comes to constructive criticism? Well, they always staring at each other, y'all, and I be trying to be quiet.
So my friends like that, they all know me. We know each other. If I'm friends with you, we've been friends for a while. We know each other. Mm-hmm. So, if I have to just be blunt, I'll say it, and I'm like, I love you, boo boo.
Bridget, what about you?
Well, normally I am the sensitive one, but I'm getting better.
She's getting better.
I'm getting a lot better. Whatever, this is still. So the thing is, whenever, I try to deliver how I want it given to me. Sometimes.
She does.
But again, you gotta go back, and sometimes I really do need you to be blunt. But at the same time, like DeDe said, offer something. Don't just tell me or me just tell you that's ugly. I may not know how to wear makeup. I may not know how to comb my hair. And for everyone who knows me, hair is not my thing at all. And I'm gonna let you work in your talent and your gift and do something to make me look better. I don't mind. So it's okay. And again, it goes back to the presentation and how you deliver it. So you might say, that color really isn't for you. That's there say, but I got another one that's gonna make you look good. It's the delivery and the presentation of it.
I think, and I'm almost scared to say anything because they both giving me that eye. But I think knowing the person is one thing, because there are some people, even though I'm blunt, there are some people that I will let walk out and look like a fool because I know they just cannot accept constructive criticism. I know if I look at you and I tell you your makeup is ugly, or I try to say it in a well-rounded way, like, won't you try this? It's going to be attitude. Then, I'm like, you know what? If you meet me with attitude, I'm be like, well, your makeup ugly anyway. I was trying to help you out, but since you got attitude now, I'm trying to tell you look like a werewolf, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying that's the way to handle it, but sometimes you get a bad rap. Yeah. Because, people know that you're friends with somebody, and they're like, why is it that every time I see you, you all made up, you looking top notch, like a diva and all of those things, and then your friend walking around looking like a Oompa Loompa with dry hair and no you know what I'm saying? And no makeup, it makes you look bad. So what are some, I guess, effective ways or techniques? Because, and I'm asking for myself, honestly, because there are some people that I really do want to help, or I want to say something that it's the saying that nobody wants unsolicited advice.
Right.
And maybe perhaps they feel like I'm okay, ain't nobody asked you, you know what I mean? But when you see that it's something that you know they're struggling with, right? And you genuinely want to help, but you know they're somebody that's always on the defense. What are some techniques that I can use personally, and some of those out there where we can kind of slide it in there without being attacked?
But one of the things you can do, say you see a shirt or something that may compliment that person's shape, or something that you may say, oh, I went out today and I saw this shirt that I think gonna look real good on you. Something else, try it and see. And let them try it on. You say, you may have never thought, oh my gosh, you look good in that. When the whole time you knew they were gonna look good in it. Right. But it doesn't look like I'm trying to change you or tell you you look bad in what you have on. So sometimes it may be you taking the first step and saying, oh, I saw this color and I think this your color. You want to try it. All you can do is offer it up, but if they choose not to take it, that's on them.
But are you lying though?
No, you're not lying.
Because what if they
don't
put
look good on you?
No, but what if they put it on and it don't look good and you don't went out your way trying, and what you gonna do, lie?
No, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Girl, I was wrong. I know the truth. You know what? I was wrong. That's not for you. And you know what? It look different on the mannequin. I hate when that happens. It be on the mannequin and it look good, and then when you put it on, it's not quite hitting right. But it's okay, we're gonna find something else. And then go through the closet and see if you can find something else for them.
Right.
And then sometimes you do just have to be blunt. I mean, to being honest, my thing is, especially when you get out in public and if people are laughing at them or something else, then sometimes you do have to tell them and allow them to get their feelings hurt. In a sense to just say, because I care about you. This is why I'm not trying to put you down. But I think, maybe you're covering yourself up because there could be something else that's going on within that person. Like, you never know, just because we're friends, I don't know what's really going on with you and your self-esteem.
Right.
So there may be some things that you're battling with, and depending on how I deliver it to you or come at you, that may have been something that's causing that person to want to cover themselves up because someone has always told them that's ugly. That don't look good on you. You don't need to wear nothing like that. That don't flatter your shape. Well, that's something they've been told the whole time, and they really are trying to cover themselves because of that. Sometimes it's a positive affirmation that you're giving that person that may want them to step outside their box. Because I know for me, for the longest, you couldn't get me up out of a pebble on top. Okay? I always said, pebble. I had every pebble that was ever made.
Pebble. Everything. I was calling her Pebble.
Little Pippi Longstyle.
I'm telling you. Oh my gosh.
That's what I had. And I didn't realize that I had fell into a pattern of wearing this because it was what made me feel comfortable because it covered up my stomach.
I told her though.
Of course she told me. Don't you buy another peplums or everything else. But again, I knew who was saying it and I knew it was coming from a good place.
Right.
She wasn't trying to hurt me, or anything else like that. And of course, initially I am gonna give her the face. Really?
Her whole face was red, y'all. Like, she was upset because, it took Bridget that long. First of all, she was an athlete.
Yes.
And, so she was a tomboy for a while. And so moving into, she's never been the girly girl. And so, here it is, her friend, with the big face and the wigs, and she's cute. I'm like, girl, you can't be around me. I can't have no ugly friends. You can't be looking dry.
But I wasn't.
No, I'm not calling her ugly.
She's naturally cute.
Okay, first of all, nobody's calling her ugly. But I was just like, come on, we gonna need some dimes stepping out. And that's just how I talk to my friends. Don't think I'm shallow or anything. They know that. But that was me trying to help her get her out of her shell because she actually didn't have anyone around her or an example of that until we got closer as friends because we've known each other since high school. And so whenever I start introducing things, I was like, Bridget, wear this, you got a little shape, you got a little thigh, a little booty, what I'm saying? Oh Lord, help her, Jesus. She's single, y'all. We all single. Look Look at the camera for a second. We cute. Okay, Bridget, you
I thought we were doing angles.
But it was like, as a friend, I gently did it. Well, did I gently do it?
No.
Okay. I thought in my mind it was gentle. But I was just, honestly, if I can just be real, I was tired of it looking like that. I was like, I'm sick of looking at you looking dry. Let's do something different with your hair. You know, try some different colors. Like, you don't have to have on slacks. And where are you going with them slacks and that work shirt? Not with me. You know what I'm saying? No, this is when we going out. We gonna go out to eat.
But that's all I had.
That is. And so what we started doing, you know, was, Bridget, why don't you go shopping with me? You know, look at some things that, you know, I wear. And we started figuring out what it is that she liked. You know, her taste. I wasn't trying to turn her into another Zanya or anything like that. I was trying to figure out what it is that fit her shape, you know, that looked best. So that's when she discovered, what is it, peplum? Is that
shirts?
Yeah, peplum shirts and dresses, right? And it fit her perfectly. But then after like 2 years, I was like, bruh, they make other stuff. You didn't know that, right? You know, I'm tired of the peplum. Don't buy another peplum dress, shirt. So I don't even wear ruffled socks. I don't even want to see any of it. Like, I was sick of it. And so it takes a real friend to be that brutally honest, where you listen and you know, okay, she's not trying to hurt my feelings. She genuinely loves me. Like, when her whole closet was ruffles around the midsection, I was like, kill it.
That's the pattern. It's not ruffles.
Okay, well, whatever. Kill it. But it's not just clothes, in which I want to turn into DeDe. It's not just clothes that you have to be honest about, or makeup, or outer appearance. What about their attitude when, you know, they have a stank attitude? Because you brought up, you know, those friends that would just blow up, that you have to tiptoe. And that's really disheartening when you're friends with somebody and you feel like you have to tiptoe around when it comes to being honest with your feelings. How do you deal with friends like that?
I think that you first have to, you know, be sensitive to other people's feelings.
Right.
But just know that whenever people blow up on you over stuff like that, it could be an insecurity they may have. It could be something else that's stemming from another place. So, you know, just be mindful of that. But I think that you should be honest. You know, have a heart to heart, and don't be, you know, critical.
Right.
And try to keep your opinion about the person to yourself. You know, you may want to have a third person there that you can trust, but that doesn't have the relationship with either of you, so that, you know, they can kind of gauge the conversation and try to help you communicate what you're trying to get across to that person, especially if that person doesn't have a temper.
You know what? I think posing a question helps.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, Bridget, why don't you dress up? And that's how I started learning, you know, well, I never dressed up. I never was the one. I was always a jeans and t-shirt girl and this, that, and the other, you know. And I was just like, oh, okay, so you never had anyone show you this, or it wasn't important to you. This is not something that, you know, that you had an interest in. And so when she started evolving as a woman, you know what I'm saying? And she was just like, we started working on her confidence, because we got past the clothing, the hair, the makeup, and then we started dealing with the root of it all, which was confidence. And so sometimes the root of the issue that you're trying to address with your friend or your girl, you know, you call yourself keeping it 100, but really you're burying them even deeper in their insecurities, in their low self-esteem, their lack of confidence. And it's like, you know, you want to get to the root because you want to be a part of the solution and not the problem. So, Bridget, what are some ways that you seek out getting to the root of your friend's issues before just offering a solution, because that may not be the issue at that time?
I mean, you really have to watch. One is, like you say, habits. Kind of like habits, because we are creatures of habit.
Right.
So the thing is, if I'm always noticing you covering yourself up, wearing dark colors, how you carry yourself, you know, in different things, again, ask questions. You know, kind of see what's going on, especially if you see a change in someone.
Right.
So normally something has occurred in order to make them feel that way. You know, even to going back, like she was saying, for myself, confidence is something that I've had to build daily.
Right.
So it is something where I would say, okay, I'm going to try this on to see how it feels. And it was very uncomfortable but of course there's no comfort in growth. So the thing is, I had to make myself feel uncomfortable and really come to myself and say, okay, why am I covering up? What is it? And, you know, there were a few things. One was confidence, but two as well is because I never did it. I played softball since I was 4 all the way through college and up until now. You know, so I'm more comfortable in the basketball shorts and the t-shirt and everything else. But then when I started really realizing, okay, you have a shape. You are a pretty woman. You know, everything else, it made my desire want to change where I say, okay, let me dress myself up because it did feel good to me to actually see myself in a way that I have never seen myself. So it's sometimes once you come out of that shell and you see yourself one time and you say, I never thought I could look like this. And that can start the change in regards to you saying, okay, I want to do this more because it makes you feel good. And you really see yourself differently, and you begin to carry yourself differently. So, you know, for me, it really was acknowledging what was really going on. And I say it's the same thing when you're looking at your friends. It's not always, they may not see the issue with it. That might just be something that's them and they're comfortable, and that doesn't mean that you have to change them.
Right.
But if it is something there that they may just say, okay, I really do want to change, that's something you have to kind of take a look at and see. Is it something these people or this person really wants to change, or is this just them?
And you know what? And you don't want to go into a friendship or be in any type of relationship where the person begins to feel like that you're trying to change them. Because then that's where resentment comes in, and they begin to push you away because it's just like, okay, you either accept me for who I am or don't accept me at all.
Right.
And so when I'm using Bridget for example because we're just on her right now, but even like she said, hair wasn't her thing, right? And so, you know, I braid, I do hair, you know, I'm a YouTube, you know, thing, so I would always figure out ways to do hair. And so instead of just looking at her wearing the same hairstyle that I was not fond of, and instead of staring at her upside the head, which I would do, I'd be like, what you doing with your hair? That ain't hot. We ain't doing that. Matter of fact, when you got work, come over here. You know, and I would text her the name of the hair I wanted her to buy, you know, the brand and everything. I would tell her pick her color and then she, even doing things like that, it was like, let's play with color. You know, stop doing the basic brown. Let's do something different, girl. Put you a little streak. And so, you know, I started putting her in the mirror, and she was just like, oh, this is nice. I think I can do this. Okay, I think I can do that. And so eventually you start seeing her confidence boost up. And it turned from me doing her hair for years, you know, keeping braids in her head and different things, to her, you know, she will pop up. She popped up one time and she has like some faux locks. And I was like, girl, who is that? I was like, who is that? You know, I had to move my wig. I was like, wait a minute. You know, I even went to put a new wig on. I was like, you ain't gonna do me, girl. But she looks amazing. And it's because once we start building that in her, then she wasn't so reliant on me, you know, to keep it 100. You know, I stopped all the extra girl buys because I turned into more sensitivity. Like, okay, I see this is a deeper issue, so let me try to be there for my friend. Now, DeDe, we've been friends a long time. We always laugh when we talk about each other, but we've been friends a long time, and you know, I didn't always get it right when I would say things, and you know, DeDe, she's gotten like 110% better, but she used to be always on the defense. So it was like certain things I would tell Bridget, you know, whenever we would talk, and I would be like, she getting on my nerves. You can't tell her nothing. She don't listen. I ain't saying DeDe. And then it was always hostility because it was just like, you can't tell her nothing. What were some ways that you feel like I was doing it wrong, you know, when it came to you, or do you feel like it was you that was the problem?
Both.
Not saying you the problem.
Both,
you know.
but I think like it goes back to me saying like just be mindful of what you say, because especially when you give your opinion about someone, because if you say, oh, that's ugly, that's really offensive. Like you're saying I'm ugly, or you saying my choice of clothes is ugly. So you know, just like offer a suggestion in a nice way, or even like take the person like, hey, let's try something new. Like, you know, like you were saying. But I think having your opinion about someone is, you have to really be careful when it comes to expressing your opinion about someone's personal taste or how they look, their choice of makeup. I remember one time when I first started wearing makeup, I would put it on real heavy here and there, and I was real big about the cheeks for some reason. I don't know why. And so I had like, it looked like big giant cherries on my face. And I had like this, I tried to do a smoky eye and it was like real heavy, it wasn't blended, it was terrible. But I had just started with makeup and I thought I looked good. And this lady in church was like,
I'm sorry.
she was nice. She was an old lady. She like, we built a relationship. She built a relationship with me and then she was like, no, I want to tell you, you know, just take a little light on the eyes and, you know, right here. And I was like, okay. It kind of hurt a little bit because I felt offended, but you cannot be offended.
Right.
You have to take, I learned about the spirit of offense. It'll keep you stuck and stagnant. And so it hurt a little bit, but I took the advice. And when I look at those pictures now, because we were in this group at church, I look terrible.
Yeah.
I would never show anybody these pictures. I look like a clown.
But what I love about what DeDe said, that's why I was like, you know, because she said I learned about the spirit of offense, and I almost heard the anointing swept through this room. Did y'all see my wig fly a little bit? Baby, that was the strength of God moving through here, because I know where we come from. You know what I'm saying? Where I was just like, girl, you know, everything is like, you can say it's super sweet and it was still offense. And it took a while for her to see that, you know, instead of her feeling like, okay, Donna's not attacking me. And I accept my, you know, my part of it, because I can't be just, you know what I'm saying? I'm very honest and I'm very realistic and I'm very blunt. So I don't beat around the bush. But, you know, when it was something that doesn't work for me, you know, like her attitude or whatever it was, I was like, girl, you need to kill that. Like, I told her one time, I was like, that's why you ain't got no friends. That's why I'm your only friend. She was like, you ain't my only, like, it was crazy. But I was just like, you have to understand that, DeDe, if you're running into this problem with everybody, then, hello, you're the common denominator. And sometimes people have not grown or matured to the point where they're able to look in the mirror and say, okay, wait a minute. Maybe they're right. Maybe she's right. And then when we would reconnect, you know, it was always a conversation like, girl, why was we tripping? Like, why was your girl? What you mean? Like, okay, yeah, you right. You know, and it took sometimes pulling away for a while for you to go back and, you know, you start going through things and you process things differently. You're like, you know what? Okay, I'm different in this area. And it's like every time we would come back and reconnect, it was another level of growth, another level of growth, another level of growth, another level of maturity. And then you start seeing that spirit of offense. And I'm only mentioning it because she did, you know, because we taping, honey. But I'm only mentioning that because she brought it up. And I've seen it over there. I mean, even Bridget just being my friend, you know, we all connected. But, you know, DeDe's my friend and Bridget has been around. She's seen the growth, you know, even in her conversation, even in the things that she do. And what I started noticing over time was, you know, DeDe would ask questions. Like, so let me tell you about what happened, girl. And I would listen and I'm like, And so instead of me just saying, DeDe, that was done, why you do that? You know, because I had to learn who I was dealing with. And I was like, if we're going to have any type of friendship or relationship, then Zanya, it's not just her. Yes, she may get offended by everything, but maybe you just shut up. Like, learn to listen. Learn to, you know, be a little more sensitive in your feedback. And so when she started talking to me and asking me questions, you know, instead of me just harping on her, I'd be like, well, DeDe, why did you do that? Like, what was going through your mind? Or, you know, what's happening right here? And then she would explain and I would say, oh, okay. And I would wait. And then I start asking questions like, so are you just telling me this? Or am I allowed, you know, to give feedback? Or are you, no, you can give feedback. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Because, girl, I've been wanting to say something the whole 40 minutes you was talking. But it's like you learn those practices, you know, in saying, okay, maybe Bridget's just calling me because she wants to vent. She's not calling me so I can keep it 100. Right now is not the time for you to keep it 100. Right now is the time to listen to your friend. Right now is not the time to give your unsolicited advice. No matter how crazy or dumb or stupid I think it is, it's time for Zanya to just be quiet. And that's ways that they've had to be patient with me, because even though Bridget was extra emotional, DeDe was extra offensive, and I just had a mouth. So, when you think about that, you're hearing, and I'm like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't work. And it's like you see, us sitting at the table and we're laughing about it, we're joking about it, we're reminiscing, we're telling our stories. But I'm telling you, it was 12 years ago, we in our 20s. I mean, we're, 38, 39, 36? What, you 36?
36.
Yes. So it's like, the levels of growth that we've had to not just endure with each other, be patient with each other, have been tremendous. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm going to do is be quiet, because I want y'all to talk to the ladies about the ones who have a friend who have a mouth, and how you guys endured and had to be patient with your friend who just talked a little bit too much. And I ain't talking about just talking, I'm talking about just being too real.
Okay. Sometimes you have to be real with your friend. And you can tell them too, just because you have an opinion don't mean I need to hear it all the time.
Right.
Because again, it goes back to that's your opinion. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what you think is acceptable, what you want necessarily for me don't mean that's what I want for me. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, if you're my friend on some things, if it's not doing any harm or any other order, it goes back to either you accept me for who I am or you don't. And even in all the time, sometimes you do just need to talk. Sometimes I might just need to vent. I don't always need your opinion. I don't always need you to tell me what's on your mind, or I'm stupid or something else like that. Sometimes you have to be transparent with that person. Mm-hmm. Look, don't talk to me like that, because this is something that's happened to me before and you're causing more pain. Or even too, sometimes I know there'll be times when I'll shut down. I don't have anything else to say. Mm-hmm. Well, why are you not talking? Well, why are you not doing this? Because every time I do, this is what you're doing. And sometimes it's putting that person on notice. And also we've talked before about boundaries. Okay, these are my boundaries. Right. I don't like being handled like that. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk to me, this is how I like to be handled. Mm-hmm. In a sense, because there may be some things that I'm working through that I cannot handle at the moment. It's not saying I won't ever be able to handle that. And if you're really my friend, then you can adjust. And, on some things too within yourself, you have to admit if you're being too sensitive. You may say, okay, maybe I was being too sensitive. And if you're friends, you're able to sit down and communicate that and talk to each other. Right. But also remember too, when you have those friends that can dish it, sometimes they can't take it. Mm-hmm. So when you turn around and you let them know, well, that's the same thing you just did to me. What's the difference?
That ain't me.
Right. So sometimes they can dish it real good. But when you turn around and say, okay, but see, you didn't like when somebody did that to you. And then they have to sit back and take a look at themselves and then say, okay, you're right. Or they may not even realize that's what they're doing, and you may have to call them on it. Look, you're doing it again. Right. And it's the same thing, because it's going to be an adjustment for everyone. But if that's really your friend, you're going to respect what I'm saying, and I'm going to respect what you're saying as well. And we're going to communicate that and work through it.
And before we go to DeDe, I just want to piggyback on something Bridget said, because, when she spoke about boundaries, and this is how you have to handle me. And it's not necessarily that anyone has been disrespectful, because a lot of things, I wasn't saying things to intentionally hurt her feelings or make her feel bad or insecure, or, some things she was blowing up on me about. I had no idea the core of what that was. And even though I was being a good friend, it was like, my delivery for her was a little painful, because of where she had come from, and she hadn't healed from some things. But over time, for a while, I just accepted Bridget's emotional. But then, after some growth took place, you have to be a good friend, the one with the mouth, and say, hey, it's time out for all that crying. Like, you gonna have to stop that. What are you crying for right now? And she would take that as Bridget's a crybaby, because that's what she heard all her life. And then that would make her feel like I'm weak. And it was like, Bridget, I'm not calling you weak, but what I'm saying is them tears is unnecessary. And that right there, I can't handle that because all the crying, I can't deal with that. Like, you need to go get yourself together and come back. And eventually it started turning into, okay, you know what, Zanya, I do whine too much. You're right. I was crying for no reason. Or, sometimes it just get really emotional and I'm like, you're doing it again. But I get why you're doing it. And so sometimes that extra strong friend has to utilize the strength because you have that gift for a reason, to pull some weakness out of them and say, hey, it's time out for that. Like, wait, we've grown from this. You built up from that. We've helped you get through this. Okay, now it's time to dry that up and be a little more stronger. And she's gotten so much better, and I'm super proud of her. So, up top. Oh, you something? Y'all saw that?
You know this is
take
bad
all my
eye.
compliment back.
It's my bad eye. The peripheral is gone on that side.
What about you, DeDe? Like, how do you deal with your friend who has the mouth?
I think that you should, at some point, just be honest and say, look, have you ever thought about how you make me feel when you say those things the way you say them? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not really receiving what you're saying because of the way you're presenting it to me. Right. And the way you're saying it. But I do remember how you made me feel. Mm-hmm. And it hurts my feelings. Like, you have to be honest with your friends. Like, sometimes pride will keep us from saying you hurt my feelings because you wanted. And so you'll just sometimes snap back at the person, but really your feelings was hurt. Like, your heart was shattered because of what that person said or how they said it. But I think either you express how they made you feel and ask them, I don't want you to know that you made me feel this way when you said that. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel very good. Right. Or sometimes you just need to just listen, take what they say, and then just, take it with, bits and pieces of what they say and apply it to your life if you feel like maybe they're telling the truth. Because sometimes things hurt because it's the truth. Right. And the truth hurts. It takes constant observation, right? It's constantly keeping an open mind and remaining flexible. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, like DeDe was saying, sometimes you have to just be honest. Like, Bridget used to have a really hard time and being honest about her feelings. She would just withdraw. Mm-hmm. And that didn't help because now I'm still doing all the things that she said was hurtful, or even towards you saying the things that you think are hurtful, but not saying anything doesn't help me. It doesn't help me grow. It doesn't help me change. It's just being more damaging to our relationship, our friendship, and before you know it, things are dismantled and it's like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. When a conversation, communication was all that was needed. I love that, when DeDe was saying, when you go to somebody and you say, hey, this was really hurtful to me. And as they know, even though I'm a strong person and it seems like, oh, Zanya has no filter, I'm a very sensitive person. And when I let you in my heart, you're in my heart. And so when you tell me something hurts, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like that it really hurts me. It bothers me. I don't like the guilt of knowing that I hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, you can be mad at me all day and I'll be like, well, you'll get over it. But when you tell me, man, I'm hurt, I'm like, I did that? Especially if you're in tears or you just like, I can't believe you did that. It really does make me go back and say, okay, Z, where did you go wrong? How could you have said this better? And you know what? You have to be willing to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Like I said, not just, talking about hair or makeup or clothing, but if DeDe tells me, you know what, that really hurt me, ask questions. How did I hurt you? And when she explains that, okay, DeDe, how can I do this better next time? What's going to help us resolve this? Because I don't want to be here anymore. Like this conversation we're having right now, you may get hurt again, but it may not be from this. And guess what? Sometimes it may even be from that because you're still growing. You're still in the process of getting better. And so, I'm glad that I have two people harping on me right now. About the one being, with a mouth and being very outspoken and being very strong, that sometimes you need to learn a filter, put a cap on it. You know what I'm saying? And so when you go out into the world, because we're friends, but when you're dealing with people who may be extra emotional, or who may be extra offensive, did that help you see yourself when you would encounter somebody like that?
Yeah. On some things, because I may even run across somebody and be like, what they crying for? You know, you sit there and you be like, okay, but you do that too. You know, and you sit there and sometimes it is like taking a look in the mirror. Sometimes you have to take a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And again, like I say, it's a lot of this stems back going to the root of the issue, because it can even work vice versa. The friend that's always got something to say and had a mouth on, sometimes you got to check on that friend too, because that can be a defense mechanism.
Right.
It could be how they were brought up and they're used to somebody saying that to them. And that goes back to just because that's how you were treated when you grew up doesn't make it right. Right. So, you know, even for their friend, and they may not realize that they're doing it. And also what comes from it. You know, and a feeling because they grew up like that, so it doesn't offend them and it doesn't hurt them. And that may have been a way that their family gave them growth and gave them a self-esteem. And that may have just been how they were brought up, and they don't realize that it's causing harm to someone else. Right. So, you know, sometimes you do have to look in the mirror, because you may see someone treating their friend like that. You might say, that girl is rude. I can't believe she just said that to her friend. And then your friend turn around and say, but you just said that to me. Right. So what make you any different? Oh, no, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. This is what you said. And they may not realize it. Like you say, life and death is in the tongue. So be careful what you say, because how you say it and what you say can end up causing someone to spiral somewhere that they never knew that they were about to go, because of some hurt that was there before. And as your friend, it may be trust as well too. Right. That you say, well, dang, this is my friend, but everybody treats me like this, so they gotta be right. That is me. You know, you sit there and it's not till you take a look at yourself. And it really is taking a self-look, and you have to take a look back and realize the intent that the person gave to you. So I know your heart. I know you didn't maliciously say it to hurt me. So I have to take a look and see with myself, okay, well, why do I cry so much? Well, why is it that when you say this to me, when you put it in this manner, it causes me to feel this way? So you do have to take a look in the mirror. And sometimes it is when you go out and you interact and you see other people like that, that you say, that's me. And you gotta want to change it. Right. DeDe?
Whenever you encounter someone who had a spirit of offense, you know, did that make you look at yourself and say, okay, yeah, that's a problem?
Yeah, because I'm like, well, that person's only trying to help you become a better you. Or like, you know, it's like, well, those are tools that you need, you know, because, you know, you're offended for no reason, or there's nothing wrong with being offended, but it just depends on what it is. Sometimes when your reaction doesn't match, your reaction or your offense doesn't match what they said. Right. You know, it's like an imbalance. That's how you know that you're easily offended. And
your reaction doesn't match the offense.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's how you know. So like, you know, just be open to receiving, you know, tools to help you become a better person. That's kind of like what I do. You know, I'm like, you're easily offended. Now I can say that. But like that mine stem from, you know, underlying issues from relationships, not just with men, but also with women. Where like I feel like, okay, when I walk in a room, like everybody's looking at me. Everybody has something against me. Oh, they don't like me. So like, was she talking about me, and the person they weren't even talking about me, they were talking about someone else, or maybe they were, but like you just can't like let people's opinions and things they say sway your attitude about life. And I let that happen based on some offenses, some real offenses that happened to me, sway how I reacted to my friends and people that really cared about me.
Right. You know what? I know we're talking about, you know, encountering somebody that's just like us. And so, you know, of course we all know that I struggled with anger. I went through anger management, you know, the snap and pop off queen and things like that. And the come get you, the run up, get done up queen. But the thing about it is, when I started encountering people who were just like me, I would look at folks like, why y'all deal with her? Like, are you kidding me? And so it took people, you know, like a Bridget that was just like,
That's you.
Like, that's exactly what you do. And I was like, no, I don't do that. Because, you know, I would have been done snatched apple, crackle, pop, whatever it is. Like, it would have been a wrap. And she was just like, that's you, my friend. And so when I started looking at things like that, I didn't like the people's perception of me. You know, whenever people would say things and I'm like, that's not who I am. Like, I'm kind, I'm sweet. You know, I'm not this fighting person. Like, don't get it twisted. Why do you think, you know, why do you think I'm just gonna slap you or hit you? What are you talking about? You know, I'm not gonna do anything like that. And so whenever I started kind of getting the picture of how people viewed me, it bothered me. And I was just like, well, like Bridget said, you got to get to an understanding, because what they didn't know was it was a defense mechanism. Because behind all that, I'm this super sweet, kind, sensitive. I'm patient. You know, I'm a listener. I'm understanding. I bear people's burdens. And so when you open yourself, because I don't know, they'll tell you, I don't know any other way to love but hard. And so there's no middle ground with me. If I got you, I got you. And so whenever I continue to get hurt, then this hard shell built up and this whole other Zanya that people think, oh my gosh, she's a gorilla, you know, and it's just like, no, I'm not like that. But then it became very realistic for me, because I was like, I'm shielding myself from people, because when I would pour my heart out, then I would get hurt. And so that turned into anger. And before you know it, my retaliation was with my hands. You know, it was like one day I just woke up and was like, you know what? The next person that say something to me, I'm gonna knock your head off your shoulders. And that became repetitive. And it became habitual behavior. And then it built up this image of me that I was just like, that sucks. Because I'm behind all of that, I'm not that person. And people that were close to me would be like, no, you just don't know her. Nah, Zanya, she raw, man. She did, she that. And they're just like, nah, that's really not her. Once you get to know her, you will see. And so that's what started bringing about the change in me. It wasn't really other people's opinions. It was just like, if I call myself a saint, like seriously, and a woman of God and all these other things, I don't want people, you know, who are afraid to come to me and they're saying, you know what, I think she's a great person. Everybody's saying, you know, Zanya can help me with that, but I'm scared to go to her. It was even down to one of my good friends, Patricia. The Lord had given her a word for me, and she would just see me around the church. And the Lord had told her, you know, go pray for her. And she was just like, oh, I'm not praying for her. No, she was like, we laugh about it now, but she said she was so scared. She was so intimidated. She's like, because I would see you walk in and you was this beautiful girl. And I'm like, oh, she's beautiful. You know, she that's one entity of it. But then she has this aura of what you want, you know, get out of my face. Don't come over here with all of that. And so I'm glad that she pushed past that, because she said when she started praying, saying, God, show me your heart. And she said when the Lord gave her a picture of my heart, she was just like, she said she just melted. Because she was like, oh my God, it's so full of love and, you know, this, and she's patient, she's kind. And she's like, who is this person that I see? And she started learning all of that was a facade. Don't get it twisted. It ain't all no facade. You know what I'm saying? Let's come on now. But y'all praying. I'm just saying, you know, don't take my kindness for weakness. Don't take, you know, meekness for weakness is the same. But what I am saying is, you know, it all boils down to find the core reason as to why an individual are, you know, is the way that they are. So that way, when you are being a friend, offering constructive criticism, saying things that, you know, it may be offensive or hurtful, you know, you can say it in the right way and they'll understand, you know what, they're doing this in love. They're saying this because they care. You know what? They want me better. I know her intentions for me are not to hurt me. I know her intentions for me is to be a better me. And sometimes getting to that point is a long process that we have all endured over the amount of years. Like I said, being friends, you know, 12 years, and then, you know, knowing Bridget, since high school, but then really getting close in the last, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years or so. You know, you see where the person is at that moment, and you get to watch them evolve, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, with all the crumminess, with all the altercations, with all the crying, with all the anger, the spats, the pettiness, the fighting. It's like when we really got down to the core of what was going on, we were able to see the real us, you know, and we helped each other push past that. And so when you think about saying, girl, bye, you know, like, girl, let me tell you about yourself, you know, you may want to consider, okay, before I say this, before I go there, before I mention this, like DeDe said with her makeup, you know, maybe that was her first step to saying, you know what, I want to start beautifying myself. You know, with Bridget coming from the type of verbal abuse that she's had to endure in her life, and then, you know, having no confidence and no self-esteem, and then she comes out and she has on makeup and she's feeling pretty, and then I say, girl, what you doing with that eyeshadow? You need to take that down. Then it's like, let me run back in my shell. You know, you just ruined the little confidence I was trying to have. I felt really good about myself, and you crushed me. You know, it's like you have to be very sensitive to, you know, the why. So the next time you're around your friends, ladies, and I mean this from my heart, you know, I know we have some really cool topics, and they do sound hot, you know, because these topics do sound hot. Girl, bye, you know what I'm saying? How to keep it 1,000, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things where you want to make sure that you are leading in love, that you are leading in kindness, that your friends, you know, that I know with Bridget withdrawing, or anybody who withdraws, you know, it hurts you to find out you can't be honest with me. Why aren't you talking to me? Why didn't you tell me you were hurting? And it's like, well, I can't because, you know, I'm going to feel stupid. You're going to make me feel dumb. You're going to make me feel like this. And you're like, no, I'm not going to make you feel like that, but your actions say otherwise.
Right.
And so it's like, take some time to look at yourself. You know, that when people come to you, check their motives. Put their motives on trial. You know what I'm saying? Put their intentions on trial. Look at their habitual behavior and patterns. And if you recognize, you know what, Zanya really loves me. When she said this, I know she needs to work on her mouth, but I know she told me that because she really cares about me. I know Zanya is saying, Bridget, stop crying. Like, don't be a crybaby, because she's being protective. She knows when she goes out into the world, or when I go out into the world and people see me crying, they're going to think I'm weak. And now, you know, her being a stronger friend is like, now I got to protect her, I got to cover her, I got to fight for her. You know, and not saying that she was no punk, but, you know, she would just internalize everything, and people would just automatically assume she's weak. Then it's making me mad. Now I'm like the gorilla again. You know what I'm saying? So ladies out there who are watching tonight, this is a prime or a good opportunity for you to do a self-assessment. Whatever friend that you are, your friend, who you are, may not be sitting at this table right now. You may say, I'm not extra emotional. I'm not somebody who would take offense. I'm sure not Zanya with the mouth. You know, I don't fight with my hands and things like that. But I do have, you know, bitterness. I do have unforgiveness. I am inconsiderate. I am selfish. You know, when it comes to others, I only think about me. I'm not concerned about anybody else. Like, whatever your you is, it is self-assessment time. Look at yourself and listen to your real friends, the one that have your best interests at heart, and y'all listen to each other. And don't get offended. Say, you know what, you may be right. Let me go pray about that. And all things, pray. Like DeDe was saying, you know, it took her, you know, going to the Lord and him showing her, you know what, DeDe, this is the spirit of offense. And I'm sure that didn't feel good. I'm sure it didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? But it's, what? I'm on your side. But, you know, don't be afraid of what God shows you. Don't be afraid of what God shows you. Don't take offense to it. Don't think, oh, no, that ain't me, Lord. That couldn't be. It's you. It's you, okay? And so I'm so glad that us ladies had the chance to have this conversation. That means you talking too much. I ain't hear you. I'm so glad that we got a chance to have this conversation, and we let you guys into our hearts, that we're talking about real women issues, not real women issues, that we're speaking about real stuff, y'all, because we want to see us healed, we want to see us whole, we want to grow, and we want to see friendships work. women, we should be empowering each other, uplifting each other. And if anything, you know, we should look at each other side by side and look at the process and say, man, I love the woman that you have become. And I think we can all of us sitting at this table can look at each other and say, you know what, I love the woman you've become and are becoming, because you know what, there's another level. And at that level, it's going to be a new level of growth that we're going to have to be patient for. We're going to have to endure. We're going to have to suffer through. I'm going to have to be quiet. DeDe going to have to remind herself, don't get offended. Bridget going to have to remind her, woo, don't you cry. You know, it's going to be a constant process. But right now, you have the opportunity. If you with your girls and y'all all watching this, after y'all tune out and we close out this little girl talk episode, y'all talk it out. You know what I'm saying? Get together, y'all cry it out, laugh it out, anger it out, yell it out if you have to, but stick together, okay? We love y'all. Thank you for joining us, ladies, for another episode of Girl Talk. Y'all know what it is. Every Friday night we get together, and it's just us ladies. We talk, we laugh, we are joyful. We talk about the real, we talk about the raw, but we also keep it classy. Next Friday, join us, same time. We're going to be, we're going to be sitting here with my girls talking about some real life issues. Can't wait for you guys to join us. Listen, have a great weekend, ladies. Hug on each other and girl, bye. See you later.
Get your brains, get your body, get it up, moving forward. You gotta keep it pushing, famous. You gotta keep it pushing. Get your mind, get your brain. And if you got your act together, we can make it happen in any kind of weather. 'Cause I gotta make something